So we just heard about the equality across America, and I know I don't want to ask you about it, but I feel like I kind of have to. Do you have something that you're going toward as far as continuing?
Yes, definitely. Kip and I are working on, today he launched a Speak for Equality website that we're trying to call out Pelosi after she gets to whatever healthcare reform or wherever she's going to be on that issue.
Right.
Then we're going to have a sit-in. He is with people he's organized, but if I'm available, the Thursday after, and that he went with the demand letter today, and it's on the website. Equality, or I think it's Speak for Equality or Speak Out for Equality or whatever. But he and I, we haven't decided what we're going to do, but we are going to just work on things that we feel are working towards full federal equality.
Now he's back in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
He wants to stay there and do something from there.
Right. And his main goal has always been that he wants to stay in the movement and be able to sustain, a personal life and a professional life, and that's where I am too.
Right.
And what was playing out in the organization at the time was that it was more setting up a civic life of mission statements and board members and all kinds of different things that we want to be on the streets. We want to organize people to do sit-ins. We want to train people on how to work in their community, do rallies and stuff that's going to get visibility.
Right. Now, was there an effort to do that stuff before the march? Was a plan for moving forward, the mission statement?
Not really, because there was
such little time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right. In the very beginning, it was always Equality Across America would put on the National Equality March, but Equality Across America was really just a name to brand the idea of an organization that their only focus is full federal equality work.
Right.
And the idea is that they'll organize congressional district action teams in all these different congressional districts, and then with those teams actually lobby whoever their representatives are, which is a fantastic idea. It's just in our idea of what we want to do around organizing, it seems like the breadth of a national movement that needs to have it. Like here in the Congressional District 19, there's so many needs that need to be met, and how do you not ignore the needs of some while also meeting the needs of someone else? So it's trying to figure out what that balance was, and he had a job offer. I need to take care of my family that's been absent for the last year.
Right.
I don't have any colors, brother. That's only what they brought. I'm sorry.
As far as
that was mainly the thing,
And do you think Equality Across America is going to go forward, or do you?
I think they'll go forward. I think that they are definitely trying to figure out what their objectives and missions and who's going to serve with what roles. Absolutely.
And Cleve's going to stay with that organization?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. That's what he's saying. I think that they're so. The reality is like you were saying, 4.5 months, you throw a march together, and all the time you're talking about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and your hope is that, but you're also strategically planning that event with the goal that as soon as that event is over, then that group will turn into what is Equality Across America, and that was the hope.
When you left and Kip left, and I saw Derek Washington resign, was that all seen from before the march, or did it happen afterwards? Afterwards. Okay.
Because what was going on is Kip needed to know for his own personal, professional life what the next steps were going to be, and he had been elected by the National Equality March Board to serve as the EAA project director. And there was not any way to confirm for him that role could continue after the march was over, because we didn't know what our finances were going to be. We still don't. The final report is supposed to be coming sometime this week, but there's no way to know based on how much finances if you can sustain a full-time position.
So is it one of the Equality Across America's goal in the future to mobilize the districts all across the country?
Well,
and
not
assist
mobilize.
them, not as one group, but to assist them in their own communities?
Exactly, right.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea would be that you'd have a project director, an advisory board, and regional reps. So, for example, you may have someone who works the western region, and their goal is to network and
to tap into the groups
together.
That are
exactly
there,
right. Right. And right now, if you look at the website, Equality Action Now, that's in Sacramento, is on the website as a dot.
Okay.
And they're not a congressional district action team, but they are someone who's serving an LGBT equality role.
Okay.
And the idea is, in their platform of what they're trying to move towards, is that they would serve the needs of that group and say, hey, are there anything that you need? This is what we're trying to lobby around. And the hope is that it'll be an omnibus bill at some point. It'll be an amendment to the Civil Rights Bill. All kinds of different ideas that are floating around.
And what about, I know you disagree with what Barney Frank said, but is there a goal to get the people in the local communities to go for their own congressman?
Yes. That was the goal.
Okay.
No, my disagreement with him was that going to Washington was unimportant. I think that you have to go to both places, and I think that, in my own personal opinion about what was going on in Washington, D.C., is that, we had the ability to meet with Harry Reid, we had the ability to show how many numbers that cared about this issue in the middle of D.C., and then you mobilized and activated, hopefully, enough people that would go back into their own communities and do lobby visits and whatever.
It's clear that you did that. Yeah, absolutely.
And there have been people who've done meetings in their own, like tonight in Texas, there's an Equality March group that's doing a rally for Maine, but it came out of the Congressional District Action Teams.
And this kind of event is happening all over the state right now.
Right,
tonight,
but it's not Equality Across America.
Right. But it's just to let them know that we're still out there.
Exactly. But, I mean, in my opinion, that is, if I was to look at the movement from an outsider perspective, that's the one, I believe, gap that we have. We have the national organizations that are up there, and then we have us on the streets. And if we're not connected to a national organization or a regional organization or a state organization, then it's really just us fending for ourselves, trying to figure out what are the best things to do, how do you send out a press release, how do you build a website, how do you put on a rally, and that gap of, like what the task force, their role should be grassroots organizing in the communities. That's what their mission is. But it's such a hard job to do that when you're also trying to fight and pass INDA. You don't have a task force chapter here in this community. And creating that takes, lots of finances and infrastructure.